Sometimes I look at my photos and technically they're fine, but they still don't feel special. Why does that happen? So, something that this is not a correct technical photography term. I call it tension in photos. It's that little something that takes it from I stood there and I posed and I smiled to I captured a moment that happened. And learning how to create moments and not create poses with your clients, and how to hold space and create space for those moments to happen. You're not just prompting poses, you're prompting moments and interactions with your clients to allow space and to be able to capture those moments. You're not just standing them side by side, hold hands and smile at the camera. You are giving them a scenario, you're giving them a framework to work within that will create those candid moments naturally. Oftentimes when your photos aren't feeling like they have like that special little something outside of the technical qualities of the photo, the shutter speed and the lighting and the focus, like those things, if we're looking at like, why is this photo not feeling special? Usually it's because you haven't allowed a moment, you made a moment. And that doesn't always work super well. Sometimes you can make moments and they turn out really, really, really well, but they tend to be a different style of photography. They tend to be more editorial, more commercial. It's the type of photos where people are really well put together. Think like magazine photos, right? Where the whole set is tightly controlled. The model knows what they're doing. They know how to pose. They know how to do all of those things. And I feel like those really intimate, really candid shots come out of giving your client space to be themselves within a photo shoot and to let part of what makes them special shine through in the photos. What do you think is the real difference between a photographer who just poses people and one who creates images that actually feel alive? This continues the conversation of giving your clients space to be themselves, because that is what makes the photo feel special. Otherwise, everybody's just a model and everybody's doing the same poses. What makes something special and unique is the people. What makes me special and unique is not because I copycat exactly another photographer. It's because I bring me to a session, and your sessions are going to be special and unique because you bring you, and you need to give your clients space to bring them and to bring that special something that is them into a session. Like, it's not hard to say, look at each other and smile and like take a picture of that. But something feels a lot different about it when you capture the way that she looks at him and the way that he looks at her. And you can't just, look at each other and smile and expect to bring out that aliveness, right? You have to start digging into things you can tell them that are going to bring that out naturally in them. This is where we need to start getting better with our prompts, because it's easy to say like, hey, I need you to like lean your head next to her ear and I need her to smile. And you'll get a nice photo, but if you want that photo to be alive, you need to give the client space to be themselves within that pose. So instead of just telling them where to put their bodies, I want you to give them an action, a feeling, an emotion, a scenario, right? Like tell the guy, like, I want you to lean into her ear and I want you to whisper about the thing you love most about her. And that's going to get an entirely different response and a different photo than if you just say, oh, lean in next to her ear and she can smile. Because now you have him whispering either adorable sweet nothings or the most lunatic, crazy, off the wall stuff into her ear, whatever he knows that she wants to hear, and they will come alive and they're going to be themselves in that moment. And then your only job is to just take a bunch of pictures of it. Just hold, press and hold the shutter button, really, right? They'll do that work for them. They'll do that work for you. So then I think the real difference between a photographer who just poses people and one who creates images that actually feel alive is what they're telling their clients. I think somebody who poses people just gives them the actual direction of like, stand here, do this, I'll take a photo of it. And then somebody who creates images that feel like they're coming alive is somebody who's able to bring out their clients' inner selves and to really let that shine through in a photo and bring out those real emotions. What does good direction sound like in real life? Like, what are you actually saying to people during a session? Okay, so I'm going to talk specifically about couples for this one. Things modify a little bit depending on the crowd and the group that you have, but we'll keep it to couples for this, because generally you're working with a couple. Even if it's a family shoot, like mom and dad are still a couple, right? So what am I actually saying when I'm giving direction in a photo session? I open pretty much every single photo session with, okay guys, so I know this is going to be really hard, but I need you to pretend to like each other. That usually gets a laugh, because obviously they wouldn't be here if they didn't like each other. And it just kind of sets the tone of what I'm expecting. I'm expecting you guys to look like you like each other. I mean, we're going to pretend, if we have to, that we like each other. And the amount of jokes I get after saying that is ridiculous. The things that people say. All of a sudden they're like, oh, I've always hated you. I can't believe I have to pretend to like you. Like, everything. It's hilarious what clients will come up with when I give them that line. So, like, right away into the session, I'm setting that expectation of, like, what it is we're looking for. I'm looking for it to look like you like each other. And then they can interpret whatever that looks like for them. Like, what does it look like to like each other? What does it look like to be connected? What does it look like to be friendly and intimate in this particular situation? And then moving on from that, like when we start getting into like the first poses, I will start them off usually pretty simple. We will start with, stand and smile at the camera. Let's get the jitters out. Like, let's get the really awkward photos out of the way. Like, be as awkward as you can for a few minutes. Like, we'll just get it all out right away, and we don't have to worry about it. We're done being awkward now. We can get into the good photos later. And then we just kind of go into, it depends how much time we have. It depends where we are. You can, if I have a really awkward couple, if I have a really comfortable couple, if my couple is really awkward, then we need to take more time warming them up at the start and really getting them to feel comfortable with me and trust me, and that they feel safe with me, and that I'm not going to ask them to do anything that they're not comfortable with. And I'll check in on them and be like, hey, how do you feel about this? Or can we try this? And I get a whole different range of responses from clients, but it really is helpful to just nail down communicating with them and to make them feel safe and to make them feel heard and to make them feel understood. And so then good direction in real life is less about, I need you to stand in this exact way and hold your hands in this exact way and smile in this exact way. And it's more about, like, think of it almost as a movie director. You're directing a scene, And then instead of filming that scene, you're just taking photos of that scene. So instead of telling them like hold hands and walk down the path, I'm going to say, oh my gosh, you guys just found this beautiful path in the woods and you're just so in love with each other and you just can't help but hold her hand and you just can't help but look at him and everything is so beautiful and everything is so perfect in this moment. And I tend to be very sarcastic and funny and like off the walls. You need to find what works for you. You can't, if you're like me, you can talk like me. If you're not like me, you can't talk like me. But I try to give them situations. Like if I'm starting to try and go for like a slightly more intimate pose where like they're face to face and I say, oh my gosh, you just happened to find this beautiful woman in the woods and I think maybe she wants to kiss you, but like she's not too sure and you kind of have to convince her. And a lot of people will just lean into that. They'll lean into the drama and into the role and it's kind of funny and it's kind of cute. But then you have them projecting more of an emotion and not just trying to hit a certain pose. And within that direction, like within that emotion that I'm giving them to try and convey, I will tweak the poses because I better understand how to create intimacy through touch. So you want as many points of connection as you can to create something really intimate. So I'll tell the guy, like, I need you to just take your finger and hook her chin within the context of, oh my gosh, you found this pretty girl in the woods and you want to kiss her. And like, oh, you tilt her chin up to you, right? And I'll give some specific information like that if the clients, some people do it naturally. It's really strange how many people will just fall into these really romantic, really ethereal situations with no problem whatsoever. Like, I don't know if they were theater kids or what. Whereas other people maybe need like a little bit more information about exactly what to do. But in general, I'm looking to photograph that emotion as opposed to that pose. How do you help people look natural without just throwing random prompts at them and hoping something works? This definitely leads us along what we just talked about of giving people a scenario and an emotion to try and embody as opposed to just a physical set of movements to do with their body. Definitely getting people moving. Do not let your clients stand still. Always have them moving in some way or another. Give them an action and not a pose. Have him twirl her. Don't have him stand like he's twirling her. Actually twirl her. And if you didn't get the shot in the middle of that action, do it again. Do the action as many times as needed until you get that photo. We are giving them not necessarily posing prompts. We are giving them action prompts. We're telling them how to move their body. And then as photographers, understanding at what point in that action and that movement, we're going to be needing to take that photo. So in the example of asking him to twirl her, I know that the pose I want is when they're at the height of the twirl and they are either facing away or facing the same direction. I know at what point I want that photo, and I will have them do that action and take the photos at the moment of the action that I want to capture. And then if the direction of that action isn't quite enough, I will go in with slightly more specifics of, I need you to twirl her away from you. I need you to twirl her into you. I need you to step out a little bit further when you do this action. So we're not necessarily placing their feet and placing their hands and placing their faces. We're giving them something to do with their body and modifying it from there. Because a lot of times if you're doing like a twirl photo, you're going to have arms kind of doing this, right? And so then just modifying the action to say, I need you to pull your hand out a little bit further when you twirl her. And that's really going to bring in that natural movement and that natural flow of the photo. It looks like you captured a moment as opposed to posing it, which is exactly what we're going for. We're creating moments that we can take pictures of and not just taking pictures of poses. How do you know when you are directing enough and when you're doing too much and kind of killing the moment? This goes back to being able to read people and being able to see when somebody is visibly uncomfortable. Or if you're not super good at reading body language, being able to have the verbal communication skills to ask them, like, how are you doing? Are you feeling okay? Are you feeling like you need a break? Do you need something else? I know I'm doing too much when people start feeling they're giving off frustration, not necessarily at me. A lot of times the frustration is towards themselves, feeling like they can't do what I'm asking them to do, which often happens when I'm giving them too much to do. I've given them too much to think about. I haven't made it easy. I haven't made it simple. I have overloaded their brain, and they're trying to think of all the 5 million different things that I just told them to do and how to pose and what I want from them. And I made it too difficult, and they kind of start to short out and shut down. And that definitely kills the moment, because then they're not present in that emotion that I'm asking of them. And they're in their head thinking about, am I holding my hand the right way? Or am I like tilting my head the right way? Like, am I doing everything the right way? And that really kills the moment, because now they're in their head and just not in their body and in the emotions that I've been asking them to feel. And you'll see it. Like, you'll see people go from relaxed and smiling and flowy and kind of in the moment and really engrossed in each other a lot of the time. And that will break. You'll see them stop being interactive with each other and start focusing on themselves and the way that they're holding themselves and the way that they're moving themselves. And that's definitely a sign that I've given too much direction and that they are overloaded. And so then in that case, I would either call a pause and be like, okay, we need to just reset for a second. I will either ask them to do something else. I'll say, we'll do a different thing and then we'll come back to this after. Or I will scratch everything. I'll be like, okay, forget everything I just said. We're going to start again from the basics, like rewind. Like, we're going to start all over again. And I will either reword, restart with that emotional prompt of what I'm looking for, and then try to build on again, like with the small action bits to create that moment. Lots of times I just like, no, forget that one. Like, we'll just go do something else. Don't worry about it. Like, next photo. Like, some photos just don't work. Some poses just don't work. And that is okay. Just move on. Just like sunk cost fallacy, right? Like, don't keep trying to put effort into that one thing that just isn't working. Move on to something that does work. Move on to something that does feel easy and does feel natural for your clients.